Our first song is called Somos el Barco, We Are the Boat. We're going to be speaking a lot about water and boats and bridges today.
Somos el barco, somos el mar, yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, we are the sea, I sail in you. You sail in me. Now the boat we are sailing in was built by many hands, and the sea we are sailing on, it touches many lands. Somos el barco, somos el mar. Yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, we are the sea, I sail in you, you sail in me. Oh, the voyage has been long and hard, and yet we're sailing still, with a song to help us pull together, if we only will. Somos el barco, somos el mar, yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, we are the sea, I sail in you, you sail in me. So with our hopes we raise the sails to face the wind once more, and with our hearts we chart the waters never sailed before. Somos el barco, somos el mar, yo navego en ti, tú navegas en mí. We are the boat, we are the sea, I sail in you, you sail in me.
Welcome, dear friends. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. Our church is located here in the heart of the walkable Tarpon Springs Historic District and is known as the home of the Innes paintings. My name is Judy Lucarelli, and I am the Membership Committee Chair, and today I'm serving as Worship Associate. We are a church of many welcomes, and we offer a warm welcome to all of you who have joined us in person or over Zoom. All persons attending in the church building must wear a mask. If you are here in the building, we encourage you to join us for all the festivities after the service today. This is a liberal community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. As such, ours is an active church, and everyone is invited to participate in any of our activities, whether you are a member or not. To learn more about events, our church calendar, is on our website, uutarpon.org, or you can discuss activities with church members. Although our children are not with us during the service at this time, we do have faith formation programming available with our gifted leader, Jamie Cruz. Children are gathering for their time together with her and a member of the congregation and meeting just outside the social hall. If you'd like more information about our programming, please contact Reverend Christina or see Jamie after the service. For guests present with us in the building, we have a connection card available. I'm usually at that podium. They look like this, either in the pews next to the hymn books or as you entered the church. If you fill one out and put it in the offering plate, or give it to one of our greeters, we'll be able to keep in touch with you. We're delighted to have Barbara number 1, Barbara Rosen, leading her. I don't know if she is number 1. She was the first Barbara I met at church, leading the service today. Music is provided by our music director, Bonnie Whitehurst, and the choir. We hope you get inspired to join us in the future. Bonnie will be singing with us in the choir throughout the service, and you're welcome to sing along with the songs and hymns while wearing masks. Again, welcome. May we begin today's service with our chalice lighting. We light our chalice with these words from Judith L. Quarles. At this hour, in small towns and big cities, in single rooms and ornate sanctuaries, many of our sibling Unitarian Universalist congregations are also lighting a flaming chalice. As we light our chalice today, let us remember that we are part of a great community of faith. May this dancing flame inspire us to fill our lives with Unitarian Universalist ideals of love, justice, and truth.
At this time, let us sing together number 123 in the Gray Book, Spirit of Life.
There were so many people in the choir, I was afraid to be empty out here. So before she tells you everyone sitting on the stage in the choir, please remember us this way. Imagine that you are going along a trail in the woods of Vermont, and you come to a steep gorge with a river at the bottom. There's only one way to get across. You see a bridge, and it's made of grass. Would you step foot on it? And you would probably wonder if anyone else walked over it, and do they still use it? Of course, we don't have bridges made of grass in Florida, but many were built for hundreds of years in South America by the Inca people. And I think a few still exist. I know that they honor their spirits once a year by remaking that bridge with fresh grass, fresh dried grass, that they pound to make soft. Here's how they did it. First, they made fresh bridges once a year. On the appointed day, everyone in the village would gather long pieces of grass. They would pound on the grass to make it soft and not brittle. Then other people took the grass and twisted it into long ropes. Still others took those ropes and wove them into thick braids. Those braids were twisted again by more people into long cables as thick as our arm. Certain people strung the cables across the gorge and pulled them very tight. And then there were riggers who would lash the cables together in such a way as to create a footbed to walk on and rails along the side to hold on to. Each person did their part as best they could, and they relied on everyone else to do well because everyone needed that bridge to safely carry them across the gorge whenever they needed to go that way. I tell you about grass bridges this morning for two reasons. First, it reminds us of how small our small part is, but when it's part of something big and strong and even miraculous as a bridge made of grass, it is miraculous. The bridges that they built span 60 feet, which is longer from the back of that wall to this wall. 5 people could walk on it, and their llamas with them, along with whatever backpacks they were carrying. Second, we in this congregation may not be building a bridge across a raging river, but we are building a way toward our future, our shared vision. As I plan to walk that way, and if many of you will walk that way also, we want to feel sure, strong, and safe, a way that I know has been built with everyone doing their part as best they can. So may we all build that way together, like the Inca grass bridge builders.
When Barbara announced that this was about the church that refused to sink despite the sinkhole, I thought of maybe songs from the unsinkable Molly Brown. But then they didn't seem to go very well. So I thought, well, I could always write a parody on the Titanic theme. Even though that ship sank, this is a much more hopeful look at the theme.
Every Sunday morning we see you, we greet you. That is how our church can go on. Volunteer for coffee, worship aid or sermon to ensure our church will go on. Near, far, there are
Bonnie, wonderful. I just realized my mic was on throughout that song. I apologize. My voice was not supposed to be the solo in that. Now is the time in our service where we take our offering for the work and welfare of this church. Ours is a free faith, which must sustain itself financially. To contribute, please go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click the donation button. Or you may mail your offering to the church at 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida, 34689. For those of you with us in person, we ask that you place your offering in the offering plates as they come around or as you exit the church. Thank you.
For many years, we had a member of our church. His name was Quimby Hetzler. And he was a composer, an author, a poet, and wrote many songs that the choir sang. And this is one that he wrote called the Sinkhole Blues. And I changed the words to make it in the past. But we honor Quimby by singing the song he wrote, the Sinkhole Blues. We had the sinkhole blues, yeah, the sinkhole blues. For years we were sad, but now we are glad. We're not that sinkhole place, we're filled with you, grace. Yes, we've lost our sinkhole blues. We had the sinkhole blues, yeah, the sinkhole blues. It was the Elks Club first, where we all dispersed. Donna taught religion from an old bar stool, which really wasn't cool. To the Elks Club we said shalom. The Walton Center came our home. The changes in plans and engineers had us out of our church for over 5 years. We had the sinkhole blues, yeah, the sinkhole blues. For years we were sad, but now we are glad. We're not that sinkhole place, we're filled with you, grace. Yes, we've lost our sinkhole blues. No more sinkhole blues.
Thank you, guys. That was marvelous. How many of you have heard the nursery rhyme? Here's the church, here's the steeple, open the door and see all the people. This nursery rhyme for children began in the early 1800s of Christian culture. But I reference it today because we'd like to talk about today's program designed to encourage us to help reduce the shadow of the large mortgage we have and to gain financial security as a free faith which sustains itself financially. We share a bit of time for remembering how this little church held together under tough conditions. It's also a time to capture not only the building we are currently in, but what holds it together is the spirit of the people who are members and friends. For those interested in our history, there's a wonderful video, The Little Church That Refused to Sink. You can find it if you search for UUCTS on YouTube with that title. As a board member and on the building committee during the sinkhole discovery and reconstruction project, Let me show you a couple of interesting parts if you are in person sitting here in the sanctuary. Those of you on Zoom might need to use your imagination until you see the video. The corner right back here where Barbara is sitting and Reverend Christina, that was a bare floor. And after the building committee and the board would review the bits and pieces that they were looking at, we would go back in that corner, totally empty, and sit there and look at it on paper to see what details we had done. The floor under the pews and chairs, all this area in here, had life-size, huge equipment for working under the floor. And as typical, it looked so much bigger when it was empty. That door leads to the outside, the one by the fire alarm there. When Renee Torres, our architect and member, was exploring, history began to reveal itself when the second door that was walled in by Julia Innes, the wife of George Innes, brought his paintings after his death, his religious paintings, into the church. That door was the one that he found, so that their prayer doors, when they open, they fold into each other and they can be closed. You can't see them from this room, but we knew one of the rows windows of colored glass and went about that window. And when Renee searched the attic space, there was a second one in the dust. That's the window that is up above us here and shines at night. Those windows remind me of all the people from our past who worked and worshiped here in this church. They are a special piece of our history. The large wooden table in the forum room was the original altar on the stage when the church was in a more Christian era. If you chat with some of the members who were with us at the time of Reconstruction, I'm sure they'll have memories of their own. The building is special. The true spirit of this church is with each of you. It would just be a building no different than a museum if it weren't for each of you. This is how we are its spirit. Nothing physical other than our ages of hard work, but it's what you bring to the spirit here. We pass through this time, as many have, for over 100 years. Each person brought their own beauty. In my time, I remember Ethel Fritz. She lived to 100+ years, and in our records, it talked about the things she was involved in within this church and her life experiences. She continued to be hoping to attend the reopening, but sadly passed away a short time before it did. Our stories continue year after year within our life here at UUCTS. We care about each other, and our connections help our spirit to grow and stay alive. Just as Renee opened the windows to let our light shine, we are appreciated for the light we share. 2 of our members have come today to share what they experienced and remember what kept them connected to this church during those years of turmoil. Jane began coming to this church when we were at the Walton Center. Jane?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jane Neal. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees, and I'm a member of the Social Justice Committee. And Barbara asked me to say something about why did I become a member of this church. And actually, when I joined, I had never seen this church. All the services and everything were being held in the rec center here in Tarpon Springs. And that's really all I knew for a long time. So when she asked me, what made you join, like, what is it about this church? I thought, what is it about this church that made me join? And I have to tell you, I recently read a novel, and it wasn't about churches or anything, but there's one chapter where these two women who are totally in love with each other go to a church. And one goes to the church because the other one really feels connected to that church. And the one who's connected to the church said, I like this church because it's open and affirming, which meant these two women were obviously lesbians, and the church was welcoming to gays and lesbians, which should be all churches. That's ridiculous. And that's one of the reasons why I like this church so much, is because it is open and welcoming and affirming. The other thing the women said was, it's really different from the Catholic Church that I grew up in. And that's exactly my life. I mean, not only did I grow up Catholic, I went to Catholic school for almost 12 years. So this is really different, and, you know, I love it. I love the difference. I think it's amazing. The other one said that religion seems to have twisted the idea of God into a way to control people. And that's sort of the way that I felt, you know. It's just like religion, somewhere along the line, religion lost its appeal to me in a lot of ways. But there's still a church, and one of them said, and this is truly, I think, why I joined this church. For me, it's all about the people in the church, taking care of each other. I love my church. If any single one of those people you saw there today had a problem or crisis, everyone else would reach out to help. And that truly is what I've seen here in this church. You know, when someone is in the need of help, everybody reaches out and they work together. And so I joined the church, not for the building, although I do think the sanctuary is really beautiful, but for the people. They were warm, welcoming, and truly caring. And this church is truly, truly open and affirming. So, thank you. I'm sorry. Barbara Castriva will now speak to you.
Good morning. Good morning. How wonderful. We have a choir today. This is the first time since a very long time ago. Our UU Church of Tarpon Springs has been known all the years that I remember since joining in 2013 as a church of many welcomes. And as Jane just pointed out, we are a member of the UUA, and the UUA provides certification of a welcoming congregation. So it does have a double meaning. But we are a church of many welcomes in many ways, and I am proud to welcome you for the first time or the 1,000th time to our UU community. My name is Barbara Kostreva. It's been my joy to welcome friends, even those I haven't met yet, at the door of many churches. At a community of 4 UUs, the UU Fellowship of South Carolina, a community UU in Texas, a huge First UU Society in Madison, Wisconsin, and our small church here in Tarpon Springs. It's a small but very busy church, very active. But as a UU church administrator, typing out sermons years ago was a superb intro to Unitarian Universalism. And participating as a greeter and in membership and in faith development in all 4 UUs has grounded me and makes me glad to be here. The journey of participation includes our choosing when and how to become a member. And this choice is a leap. It is a leap outside yourself and outside myself, but it is a leap into belonging, a leap into stand-up recognition of trust. This is a safe place to be, you have to tell yourself. You have to believe that, and we provide that. You have to trust. You have to see that the community sees me, hears me, welcomes me, and encourages me. Belonging is activity. It is participation in and with community. But there is a trust returned when you belong in a community, that I will recognize and honor others, that I will not only receive encouragement, I will give encouragement, and I will grow to make more meaningful actions in community. Reverend Christina explained on Sunday, March 20th, Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith. And having a covenant requires other people. And practicing the spirituality of covenant is being in relationship with those other people. We are co-creators in our own and our community's spiritual growth. And I thank you for that. Sometimes I wander around other UU websites, and I found a radical community tab. And on it, it said, ministers are in service of their congregation, taking responsibility for the spiritual health of the community. They work with members of the congregation to do this. Community members get involved in leading Sunday services, taking care of the chapel, welcoming new people, leading social action campaigns, running book groups, and doing the washing up after coffee morning. Being UU is work, all kinds of work. We practice our spirituality by doing the work of radical community each time we are together. The wonder and beauty of our UU church is our constant and repetitive welcoming. We choose to affirm our connections each week we come. We choose to renew and awaken our faith each time we greet another person and listen more deeply, building relationships, affirming the principles of Unitarian Universalism, including the inherent worth and dignity of each person, justice, equity, compassion, and acceptance of every person. Our participation in community supports our search for the truth, for our truth, and meaning, and encouraging personal and community spiritual growth. I was asked to speak this week to reflect on my journey with UUCTS because I stayed active during the sinkhole and I stayed active during COVID. My journey is bound and intertwined with yours, all of us together and each of you. I've enjoyed being with, coming to meet you and learn about you. The sinkholes happened. We were out of the church building, but our work focused on how to preserve community. Within a week, we had a new meeting location, and a year later we moved to the window, light-filled, spacious Tarpon Springs Rec Center. And for us, that was huge because, you know, only half of this congregation was here before sinkholes, and half of you have never seen what this looked like before. You've only seen this gorgeous sanctuary. This was completely dark, as Barbara mentioned. In the rec center, we were called Church in a Box. We sprung up in the same place every week, but it took lots of people to make it happen. People that came in and opened doors, unlocked doors, opened closets, pulled out chairs, set up a whole space to make it look like a church. Marge Lee, Barbara Rosen's mom, was the official greeter back then. Barbara brought in carts of water and made coffee. Jean and Charlie came and helped everywhere. We had a TV monitor display welcoming UUCTS and a video of our anthem, Spirit of Life, displayed outside the room that we met in. Inside, Bonnie Whitehurst wheeled her harp, her electronic keyboard, and multiple other instruments each week. We continued welcoming people. Bill and Karen arrived, and they made their contribution with photographic skills and inspirational artwork, as they continue to do today. Often the flowers are from Bill and Karen each week. We preserved and grew our community. Throughout these years, I had a role with small group discussions, using the book, The Spirit and Promise of Our Covenant by Alice Blair Wesley, and then discussions on the book by Owen Towle, Growing the Beloved Community. And over 6 sessions, we reviewed Reverend Professor James Luther Adams' essays on the 5 smooth stones. The 5 smooth stones were so significant to Marty Cardinal that she was the prime mover to create our garden outside with 5 smooth stones inscribed, with hope, love, courage, justice, and joy. These are the foundations of liberal religion before Unitarian and Universalism combined. All of this teamwork created relationship that led to building a crew of volunteers for work parties to clean, paint, and set up the pews and complete a mesmerizing array of tasks to move back into the church. Barbara mentioned how they gathered at that corner. It tells you these pews were removed. Who removed them? Who put them back in place? Volunteers. Barbara Rosen and I and others cleaned the pews, each one of them. Other members screwed them down into place in this floor. This was an effort by our community to bring this back into place so we could have a home again. Then COVID happened. Fewer than 10 months later, we were out of the church building again. But we have a strong UU church community, and work again was to preserve and invigorate that community. A telephone tree was created, thanks to Jean. Within a week in March, Sunday service was back online, thanks to Kathy Hopkins and Greg and several others. Then the first week in May, Journey Stories started. We went live on Zoom, and we were in business making connections again with everybody and bringing us back together from your own homes. Trust grew because we peeked inside each other's homes. Interestingly, the Sunday service experience was born, and that took a team of people to put it together. It's almost a year ago, on May 16, 2021, Barbara Rosen and I, over Zoom, offered a reflection on that first year of COVID, naming what we, our UUCTS community, accomplished. We remained a church of many welcomes, building a welcoming community. We marked 1 year since We marked 1 year since our legion of work parties from amazing friends and members allowed our return to the home building. We honor the reminder of the importance of sanctuary, our faith, and our community. We grew membership through sinkhole repair and through the pandemic. We preserved community through connections and relationships. Sundays, Zoom coffee hours, sharing joys and concerns. Afternoon and evening weekly Zoom gatherings, sharing adventures. We took a special moment then, and again now, to recognize our leadership's team commitment and efforts to take risks, experiment, adapt, and reconfigure our Sunday service and church leadership meetings. It's a new place these days. Our UUCTS most important event was the hiring of Reverend Christina in June 2020. She was introduced in the Quill in July 2020. She was introduced over Zoom in August. She moved to Tarpon in September and witnessed new members signing the book. Reverend Christina not only fit right in, she brought a heightened community presence to us. She introduced herself and held office hours on Zoom over many months. She moved us forward from childcare to youth faith formation. Her frequent direct communication on Facebook attracts visitors and multiple subscribers to our YouTube channel. She certainly has raised our visibility to us and to the outside community. We thank her. Our big breakthrough for adult faith development was her initiation of Covenant Group in October 2020. We practiced our deep listening intentionally, developing trust, and practicing our UU faith. We have confirmed a second round of Covenant Group in 2021 and 22. I welcome you to consider that possibility and consider the possibility of your participation to actually facilitate a group of your own of some kind, maybe whatever your interest is. My journey from joining in 2013 until my leave in mid-July through October 1st, 2021, is intertwined with our journey together. My favorite activity has been to welcome people and share inquiry into our Unitarian Universalist faith, creating community. On our grand reopening day in May 2020, a visitor from another9 asked if we could facilitate the renewal of cluster. The neighbor 9 churches in this area create the West Florida cluster. After a 2-year hiatus, we were able to do that with the installation of Zoom. Cluster restart was realized. And again, I mentioned to you, UUCTS is looking for a member to attend cluster over Zoom. You can do it right from home. It would help to build and maintain our inclusion in this region. What have I learned from all of this? The learning is to appreciate what we have witnessed since Reverend Christina's addition, that we are not only committed to preserve and continue our welcoming community, we are committed to building a Unitarian Universalist faith community. Please let me close with a short reading written by Starhawk, an American feminist and author. Community. Somewhere there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere there is a circle of hands to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us whenever we come into our own power. Community means strength that joins us, our strength to do the work that needs to be done, arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. UUCTS is our place to speak, to celebrate, and hold each other in community. I thank you so much for that support. And I'm glad to be part of this and yours UU experience. And I thank you for making my life in this UU meaningful.
Our hymn today is in the Teal book, number 1023, Building Bridges. And it is a round, and we will sing it all together one time, and then we will sing it an additional 2 times with half of you sing beginning, and when that half gets to number 2, then this half of the room will begin at the beginning. Okay. So you know what a round is. I'm confident you can do it. I'll play it through one time just so you understand the tune. You can get that in your head. Between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to between our division, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our vision, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our division, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our vision, friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Reading words from Erin Powers from the UU Church of Tampa was able to bring her ideas to our closing words. Before the holidays begin, we pull out a string of lights to be used to brighten our long winter darkness. Several people in our church have worked to untangle the string left over from our sinkhole days of debt. They're trying to sort out the string to help us lighten our burden. Our connections with people here at UUCTS will help us to stretch and strengthen our potential growth and will be greatly appreciated. You can find out more of the story in the social hour at the end of this service. May we never stop looking for and reaching out for our connections with each other that keeps the fire inside each of us burning bright.
Our postlude is a song that you all can sing with us. It's number 1021 in the Teal hymnal, Lean on Me, 1021. To get to verses 2 and 3, there's a really wicked page turn back to the beginning. So just be aware of that. Sometimes in our life, we all have pain, we all have sorrow. somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have things you need to borrow, for no one can fill those of your needs that you won't let show. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. If there is a load you have to bear that you can't carry, I'm right up the road. I'll share your load if you just call me. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lean on.
Good job, buddy.
Lavalier on. We had to do this with the mics back and forth today because the people on Zoom can't hear the choir. And if we were up there singing our hearts out, we wanted to make sure they could hear us. So bear with us for the jumping back and forth with the mics. We hope you have found meaning in today's service. We close by these words, with these words by Maddie Cefantis. We extinguish this flame, but we keep it light in our hearts with its message of love and justice, taking it outside these walls to the world we live in until we are together again. As this service ends, we thank you for being with us today. And the big announcement today, please join us in the social hall. We have special information for everyone at this Burn the Mortgage time. We're serving bagels today and coffee and tea. It says our usual in my script, but it's only the second time in 2 years, so it feels like, ooh. There are special Easter baskets for you and the chance to pick up the packet of information about how you can help us reduce the mortgage debt. The forum room will be showing the video, The Little Church That Refused to Sink. And be sure to check the bulletin board for the timeline and pictures of what was happening from 2013 to 2019. Thank you.
Everyone's welcome to unmute.